Today on A Road to Recovery, presented by Addiction Recovery Care, we're talking about no matter your past, it does not define your future. And Torrin, you're kind of living proof of this.
Yeah, so I was actually in addiction from pretty much the moment that I graduated high school until about 5 years ago. Really, some of the lowest points that I had reached was I didn't have anywhere to live. I had finally started to catch legal charges and things like that. I couldn't keep a job. My mom was pretty much convinced at that point that she was going to wake up one day and get a message that I was no longer here on this earth anymore.
And now, you're studying to be a counselor, you're digging yourself out of that. Did a lot of people not expect that from you?
Yeah, some of my closest friends even really thought that me doing drugs was going to be the absolute end of me. And there was a very large part of me that believed that also and really welcomed that, to be honest. I just didn't feel like fighting it anymore every day. So to be able to make it out to the other side of that and go to school and have a job and be married now even, those were things that I didn't think were possible for me because I didn't think that was the person that I was ever going to be able to be anyways. So that has been really transforming to make it through all those things as well.
And some people see where you are today, maybe not know your past, and then they discover your past. Could people get a little surprised of, oh my gosh, she could actually be doing this and she came from that?
Mm-hmm. It's been kind of funny because when people find out that I was an IV heroin user that lived under a bridge at one point in time, they can't believe that I even did drugs at all at one point, which I really think just speaks to the power of how much, if you have that willingness and that determination to do something with your life, if you reach the bottom of that pit and you say, I don't want to live like this anymore, that you can. And even up to a point where nobody will even recognize who you were at one point before either. So,
but obviously that's hard. It's a long journey to get there. Kind of, how can people do what you did and become from that to now this?
I think the hardest part about it is you will always have days where you kind of question whether or not the work that you're doing is worth it. Whether that's 10 days in recovery, 6 months in recovery, or even 3 years in recovery, you can still have those moments. And remembering why it is that you want to do that. And even when you don't feel like doing the right thing, just doing it anyways, because over time it does really start to pay off. And you're able to love other people. And that in and of itself is kind of a ministry really in the recovery community. I think being connected with people is probably the biggest piece of that, the willingness and being in a community. So.
Well, Torrin, you're such an inspiration. We love seeing where you are now. Thanks for sharing that with us. And we'll send it back to you in the studio.